And we are back for another session of the Dadless Iron Extra Time show. This is 120 minutes of Fatherhood, funk and foolishness. I am one of your hosts. I am Keith Harris. I am joined here, as always, by Orville the Duck, or / Cuddles the Monkey.
I ate that duck. People loved Orville, but Cuddles, I think, was the real star of the show.
Orville had his song, didn't he? I wish I could fly. It was number one.
Yeah. So, and that only adds to the myth as well that Orville was the best character, which is just not true.
It does. And again, for our American listeners from Face Radio, you simply have not got a clue what we're talking about yet.
Do you not think Keith Harris and Orville became big in America? Do you think they not did a residency in Vegas?
They could have done. So middle-aged northern comedian sticks his hand up a big duck.
Yeah, a big green duck, yeah.
A big green duck, which was very cute and made it say annoying stuff.
Yeah. You've not missed out, by the way. Although that song is cute. I remember my kids were really into it when they were little. They really enjoyed I Wish I Could Fly. They found it really cute. But now, obviously, they would be mortified to know that they ever liked that song at all.
Indeed. And we should have had this on the playlist, really.
Should have done,
we thought this through. But no, we've got 120 minutes of topical debate. Really deep dive in the questions of the day. We've got some great music from Quincy Jones, R.I.P., the Fine Young Cannibals, a couple of new bands, and most importantly, we are here to discover how Jim has got on with the last week of half term.
Yeah. And this is the thing. If you're watching on the stream, you'll notice that Dan is all resplendent in his Dadless Soul branded merch. And I'm not, because that's basically how my week has been. Like the end of the week, it was so busy. We were all four of us absolutely busy. I've got no idea where anything is. Could just about scrape together enough clothes for the kids to go to school in this morning, and dressing myself was very much an afterthought. So the Dadless Soul t-shirt is somewhere in the house, but where it is, I can't tell you. I can't understand how half term can be so frantic, but it is.
Why was it so frantic? Was there 4 different individuals with 4 different plans of activities, but nothing was coordinated?
Yeah, it was. But see, what we realized in summer that we wanted to go on holiday somewhere abroad next year. And we thought, probably going to have to cut down on all the mini breaks. So every school holiday, really, for the last year or so, we've been away or done something.
Yeah.
And so we thought this year, let's take it easy. Let's, save a bit of cash, then we can go away somewhere nice next year. And that was meant to be a nice, relaxing week, but it didn't really turn out to be that. So on Monday, we had to go and pick up our new car, which was great. That was exciting. Yeah. But, we went through like a dealership who kind of wanted to do things right, which is great in the long term for everything. But they sent it away to have an MOT test and a service and a safety check and get stuff done, and then to be valeted and things. And that was, really nice, but it just meant that we were hanging around, and I was trying to sort out insurance because they gave you 5 days of insurance. I was trying to sort that out as well. Yeah. So that was Monday was pretty much written off. Then Tuesday, I had to go and take my mum and dad's car that we'd borrowed back to them. And they live 70 miles away. So that was like me and the kids went down there, had lunch with them, got the train back, which was quite good, but just another day of getting very little done. And then thankfully, my wife could take over for a couple of days, but she also had her work to do. So really by Friday, we were both trying to look after the kids, both do our jobs and juggle and everything. And it was, it was just frantic. But some bizarre things happened over half term as well. So,
tell me.
Well, on the Monday, right, it was already busy. And then I was in the shower and there was a banging at the door, which every parent is well aware of. There's always bangs at the door when you're trying to have some time just to get washed, go to the toilet, whatever it is. Yeah. Not that I was going to the toilet in the shower. Those are 2 separate things.
That's multitasking, but we don't want to go there.
Yeah. It's the old joke, isn't it? I think Frank Skinner does that, but I think it's like an old club comedian's joke where when they go to a town, they find out where the posh bit is. And then they go on stage going, hey, they're so posh in whatever area, they get out the bath to go to the toilet. And that is like the old, like very basic club comedians joke. And it was my son, and my son had this leaflet for Prickly Pigs Animal Rescue. And he was like, there's a hoglet in the garden, a hoglet in the garden. And he's saying the next door neighbor and my daughter had been doing something to try and protect it or something. I was like, how has this all happened in the time it's taken me to have a shower? And my next door neighbor had to go to a doctor's appointment. So it was down to me to rescue a hoglet, which is...
Is a hoglet a baby hedgehog? Or is it just some weird thing that's half pig, half something else?
I didn't know this until I went out and found it. Yeah. And apparently both kids knew that a hoglet was a baby hedgehog, but I didn't know that. I was like, what is a hoglet? I was thinking like a wild boar. And, and that would be a different story. So I come outside, my daughter's got some gloves on and she's trying to shepherd it away from the road and keep it in our garden. And thankfully she had a guides talk on hedgehog rescue recently. So she was like, yeah, we need to protect it. It shouldn't be out in the daytime. It's obviously not well. You need to ring the hoglet place. So we rang this animal rescue and they said, yeah, bring it in. So I had to find a box to take a scared hedgehog. I had to drive it, emergency drive to the next town. And then we got to go in and they had like these racks and racks of hedgehogs that they've rescued in their garage. So it's just like a normal family home. And then their garage is like all heated to keep the hedgehogs nice and warm. And there's all these like medical equipment and stuff. And they weigh them and they get the ticks out of them. And then they put them on a treatment plan. And she was like, oh, this is very thin. He's dehydrated as well. Oh, yeah, you're going to have to, we're going to have to keep him in over winter. Like, oh, my goodness. It was like, it was an emergency that seemed to have come from nowhere.
So many questions, right? How does one become an expert in hedgehogs? How do you then say we're going to turn over part of the family home into a hedgehog rescue centre? Did they actually tell the hedgehog's parents that they're going to keep it in over winter? Because poor old Ma and Pa think, little Johnny's gone out for tea with his mates. He's not come back. He's gone. What about the trauma?
Yeah. Well, she did say look around for his brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
So because apparently if there's one, there's likely to be more. But we didn't find any of them. So we could have left a message with them if we'd have seen them. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know where the point comes between going, God, I really wish someone would do something about the plight of hedgehogs, and then going, I know, I'm just going to devote my life to it. And I'm so glad someone does. And obviously she takes it very seriously and they've done a great job. But yeah, that's an all-consuming thing when you've got 20, 30 hedgehogs in your garage that you needed to be looking after.
And you're not allowed to fill the... I remember some reason for a child. It's like you give them milk and bread, but you're not allowed to do that, are you?
No, that's bad. Yeah. So you're meant to give them like wet dog or cat food.
Right. Okay. So Pedigree Chum are potentially missing out on a new revenue stream for baby hedgehogs.
Yeah, exactly. There we go. Because we had to, when they came to they came to the guides meeting that my daughter had, the thing was we're all going to donate a can of dog food or cat food or whatever. So, they should have done some aggressive marketing there, because that was 30 cans they sold in one day in one village that they might not have otherwise sold, especially because we got it from the corner shop where no one seems to actually buy anything.
And it's out of date. It's best before 1982.
Yeah.
So you killed the hedgehog by trying to be kind.
Yeah, possibly so. So that was the very start of half term. We'd gone through that. And
that's traumatic, isn't it?
It was traumatic, but we felt like we started off on a good step because it felt like we'd done something good. Yeah. Then we went out, we got the car, we brought the new car back home. We were just typical thing. If you're not into cars and like torque and horsepower and stuff like that, what I was most interested in was connecting my phone so I could listen to Spotify. And so we got
Phil Collins CDs back in there.
Exactly, of course. Yeah, they'd not gone to the scrapyard.
Yeah.
So I was doing that on the road, showing the kids, and I heard this crash up the road. and a car had gone onto a driveway and hit another car or a van or something like that. So I was like, oh, that's not good. And then all of a sudden, wheel spin, and it reversed speedy fast back across the road, smashed into someone else's car, and then came to a stop in their garden. And it was drama. Absolute. Oh my god.
That was probably big on the village WhatsApp, wasn't it?
Yeah. Big news going on.
Yeah.
And it was one of those like shocking things. Someone had done that on purpose. Turns out, I think it was like an accident. Someone had got confused and, het up and done it by mistake. But oh my goodness. And it's like, people just, you don't really know what to do. Everyone seemed okay. Once that was established that everyone was okay, it was like, well, what do we do? They probably don't need me standing here. I'd already told the kids to get in so that you just.
But you were busy Facebooking live at the time. So.
Yeah.
Don't worry about if they die. Think about the likes.
Yeah, there you go. It's all about the engagement, isn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, it was weird. So then I just kind of sauntered backwards, going, "There's nothing I could do now." But thankfully,
they die.
Exactly. But everyone was walking. I saw that. So I was like, that's okay. I can't do anything here. I did say, look, I did see what happened. If you need a witness. And they just went, well, it'd be on the doorbell. I was like, oh, okay. Well, fine. Whatever.
Yeah, we've outsourced witnesses to the robot overlords. So, no.
And why not?
Yeah.
So it's just been, that was a dramatic day. No work was getting done on Monday with all that stuff going on. So that had made me delayed. That was drama enough.
I've also thought that baby hedgehog that you saved, are they missing a trick? Because, sometimes when you adopt a donkey or something, the donkey actually writes to you.
Yes, yeah.
And there'll be little letters about his upkeep, where he's been on his holidays, what his friends are up to. And I think there should be some sort of regular postcard update from Spiky the Hedgehog and to see how he's doing, because you don't know, they could have just gone, this is great, but actually wrapped him up in foil and, made him into a jacket potato.
It is bonfire night this week, so
check your bonfires.
Check your bonfires for hedgehogs.
Check your hedgehogs.
Yeah. Can I just pull you up on one thing there? There is one rule when it comes to taking your hedgehog to Prickly Pig's Animal Rescue.
Okay.
Which is that you should name your hedgehog when you take him in. However, you are banned from calling it either Spike or Sonic.
Yeah, that would be easy. I would go hedgehog, hog.
That's not a bad one. There was one there called the Hog Father, which I quite liked. That was quite a good one. Yeah, they did that one. We called ours Patrick, and I don't really know why.
Pat, no, but it seems like a nice, solid name for a young man.
Not a bad name, is it?
Yeah. Of course, you've obviously gendered it straight away.
Well, thankfully we did, and thankfully we were right, because
fair enough. Yeah.
Because when we we'd gendered it before we knew. She just picked him up, looked at him, just went, "Yeah, it's a boy." I was like, "Oh, okay, good." Just
that in itself is, my tiny mind is blown, and we've only been 10 minutes in.
Yeah, because if you want to become an expert in hedgehog genitalia, then I know a person who could help you with that.
That is a very, very niche OnlyFans, isn't it?
Isn't it just? Yeah. Yep. So, it's been a hectic week. You can see why I'm ill prepared and it
doesn't sound like, it's half-term holiday. I don't think you got the rest of that, that sentence in, did you? The holiday bit doesn't sound very relaxing and calming in any way.
No, it wasn't. And that's why I was delighted at 8:45 this morning when the kids went through the school gates and I could walk back home and do some work in peace.
And look for some more hedgehogs or baby foxes.
Of course, yeah. Just keep an eye out, because you never know, do you? They need the protection.
You never know, keep them peeled, in the words of Shaw Taylor on Police 5 after the news. Again, another reference there for anybody that's 50 plus, and certainly not any of our American friends over on Face Radio. This is a cultural exchange that I think is probably lost on the majority of people, isn't it?
What I like to think is that now, normally it would have been bad back in the day, but now we've got the internet and everything. People can, if they hear a niche reference, they can go and look it up. They could probably go watch some, Police 5 or some Keith Harris and Orville or whatever. So actually, what we're doing is we're just introducing people to new things that they might like.
I like the spin you put on that rather than we've just meandered onto a load of absolute tosh.
It's just two middle-aged men talking about things they vaguely remember. Yeah,
indeed. And at least it isn't our ailments as per every other episode.
Got 15 minutes in, not even mentioned them.
And it means you've had a week off and you've not broken anything. So I'm taking that as a win.
Perfect. There we go.
Musical interlude.
Let's do it.
Right. First track, we've got Electric Guest, which I know absolutely nothing about whatsoever. But again, it came up as one of my favourite hobbies, which is looking at Facebook memories. And about 12 years ago, I put it up. This is a great song. It's been used in an IKEA advert. And then, I played it again. Oh, this is quite a boogie tune. This will work for the dance floors of Brooklyn. It will, maybe get people jiving as they have their, ham salad sandwich on LinkedIn. And for the wider audience, time to bust some move. Can we have Electric Guest, please?
Let's do it. This head I holds.
You got your feet tapping, didn't it?
I like that a lot. Yeah, not heard it before. Don't remember it, or maybe I did hear it on an IKEA advert back in the day, but I don't remember it. Yeah, that was good. Really enjoyed that. Electric.
I thought it was fresh, and for many village listeners, they wouldn't have come across it. And also, they don't spend time going through my Facebook memories. So, again, public service announce of what we are very good at, I think, Jim.
Yeah, me too. We did. Also, I like the amount of content we're getting from Facebook memories. Unusual. Today, I was reminded of something that happened about like 15 years ago. I was on the radio, and I was on the radio in a town called Burnley, and they have a football team. And there had been a news story about how there was a Russian bloke who was obsessed with that football team. And I had admitted on Facebook memories, or on Facebook at the time, that on the radio the next day, because I was on the radio in Burnley, I was going to make a joke that went, his favourite players must be Martin Patterson and Chris Iwelumo because they're a pair of strikers.
Oh!
And it's not often you get jokes made about the concept of perestroika on the radio. And it might also be why my career faltered for a while after that. And Dan has disappeared.
I'm here, but I'm not here. Yeah, I'm here.
I don't know why you disappeared. Were you so cross at that joke that you thought, that's it, I'm going?
No, I think it is our Russian cousins listening in on us.
That's it. Well, very topical with the Moldovan election, where they were talking about, which, I mean, it sounds, is it Prime Minister or the President was going, some people are going to meddle in this. So if I don't win, it's probably because of that. But she won anyway, so she didn't need to come up with that.
But isn't that great? Get out of town, God! You come home and the wife's gone, why haven't you done the washing up? Well, I was going to, but the people have meddled in it.
Yes, exactly. There was some meddling going on at some point, and I ended up in the pub, and I can only apologise, but not my fault.
Moldovan meddling.
Good old Moldovan meddling, yeah.
So you might not realise we had a technical interlude. Probably that you didn't even need me to tell you about that because Jim's editing skills are just so seamless.
Mm-hmm. Who knows what happened?
Yeah, this is where it gets awkward. Oh, I thought these boys were professionals. It's not. It's the Gremlins. I think they're left over from Halloween. How was your Halloween, by the way?
Oh yeah, that was another thing. That was another half-term thing. It was just busy. It was good.
Any sweets? Where are the sweets left over? You said I expected you to be blinged up.
There are a lot of sweets. Unfortunately, my children are quite good at cataloguing which sweets they have. And I don't know. The ones that I would want to steal, which is mainly the chocolate, prefer chocolate to sweets. I think that they kind of know how many they have. And I think they would know if I went and stole some, which I'm pretty gutted about.
But as we explained, the budget's here. 35% dad tax on anything that comes into the house straight off the plate. That's a lesson that they need to understand. They can earn this stuff, but then the big boys are going to come and take a lot of it. Just a bit like a salary.
Right. Okay. So I need to be transparent about this. I don't need to be sneaky. I'm not trying to sneak in and take it. I need to be saying, this is what you owe me because I allow you to be in this house.
Yep. There is a friend of mine actually choked on a Quality Street. The purple one. Yep, that's him.
Hey! Very good. Very good. Did you do anything Halloweeny?
None whatsoever.
Did you hide from trick-or-treaters?
No, I live right in the centre of town, so they don't tend to come anywhere near us. But we were having our Dad to Soul meet up over in Brighton. So the ghouls were there. No dress up. And unfortunately, the lovely lady that we had booked in to give a talk had to cancel because she was on a mission of mercy for some of her friends who had been caught in the Spanish floods. So she couldn't make it to us. I thought, okay, fair. That's a really good excuse, as excuses happen, or reasons.
You can't argue with it, can you?
No. So we did came up with the idea of doing Russian roulette. So for those who don't aren't aware, we do a range of events in Dadside. We do our play dates on a Saturday. Thursdays, we kind of organise a youth club for different dads and lads come along. And we had some new faces. So I thought, right, actually, what I'll do is I'll pick on some of the regulars and get them to do a little talk about stuff that I know they're passionate about. And then played Russian roulette with some of the new boys. And it actually turned out to be incredible.
Right, great.
And, so there's lovely Sam Zindel, who runs PropellerNet, who are our venue partners and brides. He's very, very passionate about sustainability and how it can help the next generation. And he told us a bit more about what he's got planned as a new project, which is so very cool. I mean, it's on massive attack level of cool.
Wow.
They don't do things by halves at Propeller, so that was great. And then there was our pal Shriv, who moved over from India a couple of years ago, and I met him randomly at a networking event, and he said, "Oh, really like the sound of what you do, but I don't have kids at the moment. Can I still come?" So absolutely you can. So thinking, as we know, making friends as a middle-aged man is difficult. Imagine doing that as English is your second language, having no wider network. Shiv came along. He was talking about Diwali and what it meant, because it was also Diwali was on Halloween. And then he stupid boy, right? He's a tech entrepreneur, but he said, I've got this real urge to move away from tech and open up a sort of like a real authentic Indian street food thing. So, right. So when I heard that, in my head, it translated to, Shriv, next month you're doing a taster session for it, and he was like, yeah, okay. So the next 28th of November, he's going to come along with some of his recipes, and we can have a free tasting session and help maybe guide him about what recipes work. And it was lovely. And then there was...
You're just doing market research there. You're not... That's nothing else. It's selfless, if anything.
We're just very giving. But yeah, as the evening progressed, it was kind of strange, because I picked on, say, a couple of other new fellas. And I know it's terrifying coming into a new venue. Maybe you don't know anybody. So suddenly just go, oi, tell us your darkest secrets. But yeah, it was remarkable, the stories we shared. There was one lad, I'm going to respect his confidence, but he came down from London, down to Brighton, especially to see us. And he had such a heartbreaking story of fatherhood. He was like, wow, I know you wanted to get that off your chest. Would you have had I not picked on you? So yeah, it was really lovely. I'm going to do more of that. So in our sessions, it's kind of anybody who comes through the door can be picked on. And I think that was really useful. So it's, slightly Halloween. We didn't do any trick or treating. But it turned out to be, an average Thursday night that was actually really, really remarkable.
See, that's great, isn't it? Because everyone has those interests and passions and stories, and whether it's something that they want to get off their chest, they need to talk about, or something that they have an interest in that people don't know about. It's everyone's got something, and you'll meet someone. It's so funny. You'll meet someone maybe not straight away, maybe 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 years down the line, you'll suddenly find out they like paragliding or something like that. And you're like, oh my God, I didn't know about that. Tell me everything about it, because it's a world I know absolutely nothing about. Please give me information.
It really is. And I suppose it's given them the space to be able to tell that. You have to ask the right questions, because normally, how you doing? Yeah, man. How's work, man? How's kids? Remember, and we stay on this top level of conversation, which is tedious, to say the best. But the guys were absolutely fantastic. Nobody had a hissy fit. I know the idea of public speaking for a lot of people is terrifying. But yeah, they all coped really well. And so it was such a success. We're going to roll it out across other venues. I'm going to get into the dark and dirty world of any of the fellas that come through the door.
No, fair enough. Very nice.
Into it. That's where we were up to. But the thing about Halloween, right, gets me. I'm mourning, Jim. I'm actually sad.
Oh no, how come?
Because Halloween, when I was a kid, it was sort of okay, but the big thing was bonfire night. Right? Penny for a guying. Nobody does penny for a guying. And so for our American listeners, essentially what this is, a few hundred years ago, some guys got together, literally got together and tried to blow up Parliament, as an act of terrorism. We actively celebrate that as one of our cultural days. And as a kid, you do this penny for a guy, and so you'd either dress up a dummy or get one of your smaller siblings, stick him in a pushchair, pretend he is like an old man, and go round and legally beg.
Mm-hmm.
Give us some money because we want to buy fireworks, right? In this day and age, kids don't buy fireworks. Kids are nowhere near fireworks, but it was allowed. And it seems that penny for guying has died, and Halloween and buying loads of plastic costumes has gone through the roof. So I'm split. I'm mourning fireworks night.
Yeah, there has been a bit of a shift, hasn't there, from one to the other. Like Halloween was like a kind of low level thing. It was vaguely interesting, but then like bonfire night used to be the big one. We missed out because Saturday night my daughter went to a Taylor Swift tribute act with my wife. So there's normally a really good display near here. So we didn't get to go to that one. And that was a shame because it's really nice. So I had to look after my son. And we were coming back from somewhere. So it was just a bit late. And it's a real shame to miss it because there's something nice about there, getting all wrapped up warm and seeing the fireworks going off and the bonfire blazing. And there's
some hedgehogs.
Yeah, you watch out for those. And the food.
Going, oh, bang. And then mentally in your head as a dad, you're going, that's £5,000. Yeah. £7,000. But they've just spent £40,000, right? Yeah. On a light show. That's just
Yeah, I also missed the doing it in your own backyard. You have to get the biscuit tin. Everyone had like a biscuit tin. That was the way to keep fireworks safe. And then you'd put them, it would be dad, it would always be dad. Set them. You were always told not to go back to the ones that had lit.
Yep.
Your dad always did, right? Because he'd lit it, didn't work. So he'd go back, light it again. Hopefully it would go off once he'd stepped back again. And there was like the DIY thing was pretty good. Like now as a parent, I see how annoying it is, especially when your kids have gone to bed and people are setting off fireworks really loudly at 10 o'clock at night. That annoys me. But back in the day, that was great fun.
There was and also with sparklers. So you'd get to hold a sparkler and then you'd drop it and then you were warned not to pick it up.
Oh, yeah.
Pick it up by the hot end and then your hand would actually melt away and you'd lose your hand. And it happened to a kid in another school around the corner. So it actually must be true.
Did they used to show you the video at school of that happening? Like there was a video where a kid went down to touch it and it just stopped and paused on the moment they touched it.
Yeah.
And then it gave.
I thought you meant the X-rated one where they actually saw the kid's hand melt. That would have probably been a bit more effective because otherwise it was this little girl and she had like mittens on. And it's like, that's fine. And she screamed, so what? I think it'd have gone like Toxic Avenger. And yeah.
That was too far. I mean, you need to go with the time. You need to move with the times, don't you? And, kids are used to CGI and stuff nowadays. So we need to really up our game and properly scare them with that. Definitely. Because back in the day, the public service information films probably weren't as hard hitting as they would be now. I remember the one about the kid who went on the railway lines and the end of it was just him in bed, not being able to walk anymore. And then his mum or his dad, I can't remember which, hanging up his football boots on the back of his door. He will never use them again. But I think nowadays you'd need to be a bit more graphic, wouldn't you, to really hone the message?
You could do, or it'd be a lot softer because we're there to protect. I also remember there was one where kids were throwing their frisbees up onto like electricity pylons. And the back of our primary school used to back onto a power station. So we regularly kick our balls and stuff up in there. Even though we saw it, we would still send the simple kid.
Yeah, I was going to say, in a way, it made it seem quite tempting, right?
Yeah. Are you brave enough?
Yeah.
No, you're chicken. You can't scale up 80 foot without any level of scaffolding or support just to get that £2 football that's completely knackered.
But you can utter those immortal words that will make anyone do anything, which is, I'll time you. and they'll go and do it. Can I do
Does
it
that
quicker
still
than
work with your kids?
Yeah. Well, I wish it would work nowadays. It surprisingly worked with a flatmate of mine when I was at university. So we were 18, 19
Yeah.
in halls, and there was a 24-hour garage not that far away, but none of us could ever be bothered to go. But there was one lad that we lived with that if you went, I'll time you, then he would go to try and beat his time. Not bless him. Not realizing that
that's worrying on a lot of levels, because
Yeah.
essentially it sounds like bullying, and now I'd actually have to report you to HR.
He was having the time of his life. He was really enjoying it. He was really happy with it. He was excited to do it. He got a world record.
Did you put it like? Did he get a gold star on the back of the kitchen door? Was there like
Shut
some 11 o'clock, right? 3 o'clock when we've really got the munchies and
Yeah.
desperately need that packet of digestives.
How much quicker can you do it? Yeah, we should have done a leaderboard like on the Top Gear, the car thing. Really should have done. If I could go back all those years, 27 years, then I know. That's shocking, isn't it?
No, don't, because then it's another conversation about, old people to go, oh, the years, the time just goes so quickly. And it really does. I had went out to dinner with some friends on Saturday night, and my partner's going, oh, when did you meet him? And I was like, oh, no, it's 10 years ago. I worked out it was 20.
Yeah.
And it was because he'd been with his missus for like 7 years. Well, I knew you when you were single. So, whoa, okay. That was sad, Dan times.
Yeah. And it's funny because as you get older, obviously that time seems to go quicker, but I guess it's because as a proportion of your life, it's less than, 20 years when you're 20 is literally your lifetime. 20 years when you're 50 is a lot less. So I'm thinking, for me, it's the start of November and it's like, oh my God, it's so close to Christmas. For my kids, it's like, oh, why is it so long till Christmas? And it's that kind of very different ways of looking at things.
Have you already got your tree up?
No, not yet. We've still got pumpkins outside the front door. Not that
and hearts from Valentine's Day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And Happy New Millennium stickers on the window.
But then you're going to have to do it. You're then going to have to find the biscuit box that holds the Christmas lights.
Yeah.
And put them. Actually, I saw a post from Jill, your lovely partner, said she's got some vintage Christmas lights, and due to your dad, he'd actually gone and pack tested them, so they were ready for sale.
He got himself trained as a pat tester, but because he's retired. What else is he going to do?
Vintage Christmas lights. So I would buy those for a couple of quid. No, they've actually been health and safety.
Yeah, exactly. Because back in the day when you had them the first time round, it was the lovable danger of whether they were going to burn your house down. But now actually they get tested and proper plugs put on them, and proper wiring and everything. So
and it's another reason for regular listeners. You know how much Jim's dad actually does for humanity. He's just going up in our estimations. Not only does he write strongly worded letters of complaint and get stuff done, he can now fix vintage Christmas lights.
Yeah, there are no ends to his talent. There are no ends ever.
Do you think I'm never going to be able to walk in your shoes? He cast a shadow.
Yeah, it's definitely the practicality did not come down the line to me or to my brother. Yeah.
Did he sit and actually go through things with you? Like, this is how you do a plug, and this is how you, I imagine he had a tool set and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Didn't take any notice.
No, didn't go in. Didn't stay in. No, just absolutely did not stick in my tiny mind.
No, my dad we had no tools. If you need to change a plug, you'd go and find a knife from the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
And anything else is I'll just get a bloke in, because actually the time it would take me to do this, I could earn more money not doing it and just paying somebody else that knows what they're doing.
Yep.
So I grew up not knowing those. And also I'm pretty terrible and cack-handed at quite a lot of those things anyway. So even if he did teach me, I probably would have got it wrong.
Yeah, me too. Like drilling for some reason. Trying to put like coat hooks up. I've tried and I tried. And it's not like I've not tried. I've done it, moved out of home, like, you know, when I was 18. So, as I say, 27 years ago.
Yeah.
And I've lived in a procession of places. I've made a lot of holes in a lot of walls. Sometimes they stay up. There's a towel rail in the kitchen that is still standing 14 years after we moved in. So that's the best DIY I've ever done.
Are you quite proud of that? Do you walk past and just go, yeah.
What I do actually is going, it's going to fall off sometime, isn't it? It's got to be soon, surely. But I just can't do it. I don't know if it's the equipment or just me. I can't make it work.
No, I get it. It's maybe what our brains are wired differently.
Yeah. I just wonder if there is an opportunity for, you know, all these old buildings that you get abandoned houses and stuff like that. If there's a charity that could take over them, and I don't know if it'd be a charity or just like a community group that could take over them and then just give guidance to useless people like me on how to drill. So you've got all these walls. It doesn't matter if you make a mess because they're going to get knocked down anyway. Yeah. And then, like, just here you go. Do this. Try it 20 times. See if you can do it. And just get someone who knows what they're doing to stand there with you and go, no, you're doing that wrong. You're doing that wrong. That wouldn't be a bad idea.
It's not. And then you can have a plastering course. So you can go over it and then maybe get somebody who knows about kitchen tiles or bathroom tiles, show you how to put the tiles up as well.
Yeah, exactly. So you could run those, like, you know, 1 week this, 1 week that, and then just build it, you know, take everything down, build it back up again. And then,
that sounds like a fun house.
It does.
A whole lot of fun.
Yeah. It also sounds like probably be an insurance nightmare, but, you know.
Hell of a party, though, wouldn't it? Because you can go there and just wreck stuff up. Be like one of those, I don't know what they're called, release tension buildings where you just go in there with a massive hammer and you're allowed to smash plates and get all your anger out.
Oh, someone got me a voucher for one of those that I've never used. I'll look
Is
into
it
that.
Still in date?
No, probably not. Yeah, I'm terrible at that. I do some work with I don't want to name them too much because just in case they get us back to them, but they were telling me that they sell vouchers and they do so in the full knowledge that most people won't use them, and they get really cross when people do use them. but apparently there's some statistic that like 3 in 4 people who get vouchers never actually use them. So, you know, it's something ridiculous. It's probably not that, but it is a lot of people who don't get around to using them.
Well, yeah, because you said they got all to do it. Actually saying that, I've got a couple from one of my lovely nieces bought me vouchers for our beach sauna sessions. And it's the bottom of the road. Again, that was in August. And then every weekend, I think I'll do that. And then my idea was to bring in some of my friends that have never tried it. So look, I've paid for it. Let's come along and do this on a Sunday. But then, it just goes lower and lower down the list. And then I just completely forget about it.
Yeah, that's it.
You've reminded me now I'm going to do it and definitely use it by the end of Christmas. Otherwise, it will go to waste.
Okay, you've said it now. Accountability.
Yeah, we've tried accountability on this show, a bit like your stand-up comedy routine event. How's that working out for you, Jim?
So, is it time for a musical break?
Yes, it probably is, because then that just got a bit too soon.
Too soon, yeah.
Yeah. Fine Young Cannibals?
Yeah, let's go for them.
Go on then.
Here we go.
She's got a
It's a banger, isn't it? It's a Northern Soul banger, which I've only just cottoned on to the fact.
Yeah, it's definitely got that. It's got that beat, hasn't it? It's got that behind it. That thrusting momentum behind it.
Thrusting momentum.
Mm.
Can I have that as my T-shirt, or at least on my Tinder profile?
Yes, thrusting momentum.
That could be my wrestler name.
Yeah, no, it's a good tune. Fine Young Cannibals, a fine Yorkshire band, of course. You know,
Are they really? I was not aware of that. Which part of Yorkshire were they from?
From the city of Hull.
Ooh.
At least Roland Gift is, and let's face it, he's the best one, right? Because he's the lead singer.
Oh, the rest are just infinitely replaceable.
Yeah, exactly.
Neatly picked up with a cup that you just knocked over and nobody realised. So well done on that.
I'm glad you pointed it out. Thanks. At least it was empty. So
at least it didn't go all over the equipment and suddenly just go bang in a puff of smoke. And the last thing that everybody heard from me was, Dan, I'm going to be thrusting memento. Big puff of smoke.
What a way to go, though. What a way to go.
It would be, but potentially not the one that I'd like. I want to die in bed with my socks on, not on a puff of smoke because somebody's just spilled their tea over a console.
Come on, part-timer. Come on.
Indeed. Well, Fine Young Cannibals leads me neatly onto the next section of the 80s banger. So let me take you back to the 1980s. Goes for back a couple of things. So when, as earlier I mentioned, we had this like Rush Roulette section of the Dad's Group on Thursday, when Sam was talking about the changes in sustainability. He said that things that we think are crazy now only take one generation to change, and then it just becomes the norm. And the reference he used was gay marriage. He said now it's just completely accepted. Nobody bats an eyelid. But 20, 30 years ago, it was illegal, and people were hounded out, because of their sexuality.
People being chucked out of the military, for instance. There was a bloke that I heard on the radio the other day was talking about how he'd been sacked from the military and shamed in the 1990s for being gay. Crazy, right?
Same with our pop stars, MPs. That was on a Sunday on the weekend paper, somebody had been outed, and it strikes me as crazy. So we're going out on Tuesday. So Wednesday night, I'm going to our lovely Worthing Theatre to see a play called After the Act, which is about the Section 28 saga. So that's when Maggie Thatcher and her government, in the infinite wisdom in '88, banned the promotion of anything to do with homosexuality in schools, because obviously there were no homosexuals in schools.
And by promotion, they meant talking about it. Talking about it like it was normal, which it is. And that's crazy, right? Absolutely crazy.
But you think, there was the AIDS crisis, there was still public stigma, there was moral panics. It just strikes me that that's in our lifetime. And I can vividly remember the AIDS awareness campaigns and stuff like that were there to put terror in there. But actually, if you were part of the gay community, or you were a young gay person, you had no role models. There was no, unless they were, so you say, more camp entertainers, shall we say. But actually, I just do this. I'm a welder, I'm a brickie, and I just happen to be gay. There's none of that. It's a change in our lifetime, obviously a positive one. But did that hit you? Do you remember that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's really bizarre going back to think about how attitudes were, and obviously there is still a lot of homophobia around, but much less. And it's obviously broadcasters and people in the media and the entertainment industry have become a lot more enlightened, because you did get those stereotypes and those demeaning jokes, and it was fine to do homophobic jokes on the telly, and that something that would never get past nowadays. You would instantly cancelled. And and I know there's debate about cancel culture and things, but actually, you know what, sometimes fair enough, because we shouldn't accept people being discriminated against and people being harassed and people being marginalized because it's not right. And it just, it's so bizarre that's really in our lifetimes, as you say, that it's changed. There's a lot of, I've talked about it a lot. I watch a lot of RuPaul's Drag Race. Absolutely love it. And one of the things I really like about it is that there is a lot of competition. There's a lot of snideness in the kind of biting reading of each other that they do, but it comes from a place of love, and it comes from a place of this collective experience. And there's usually a bit in the show where people are just talking about their pasts and talking about how their families reacted when they came out, because vast majority are gay. Not all of them, though. There are some straight drag queens as well. But then that's another stigma altogether as well. And you hear a lot, and these are kids. They're basically in their 20s and in their 30s. And even when they were young, they, as you say, they didn't see people on TV who represented them, who were like them, who they could look up to. And that's why a lot of them want to be on the TV now, being that person, so that someone who's in their position as a 10-year-old or whatever watching can go, oh, look, it's absolutely fine. It's normal. It's okay. This thing that I'm kind of is going through my head is actually just what normal people do. It happens. And I can be that, I can do that, and I can achieve stuff. And that's one of the lovely things about that program. But once again, these are people younger than us who are on this show, these shows, and even within their lifetimes, things have changed a lot as well.
I remember I was probably still am a massive fan of Eddie Izzard, right? And he used to do a routine about bloke in a frock. That was it. That was the open. The whole thing is how weird it is to see a man in a dress. No, but again, it was a huge big deal, and that was only in the 90s.
Yeah.
But time obviously goes really quickly, as we already discussed, because we're elderly. So that is 30 years ago still, Jim.
Oh yeah, and that's shocking. And wearing nail varnish as well. Oh my goodness, can you even imagine what a big thing that is? Shock and horror, outrage, Daily Mail in meltdown, and all stuff like that.
Have you ever got what I call it, glammed up or glow up? Have you ever got your glow up on?
Not really. No.
I'm too busy down pit. No.
See, the thing is, I watch Drag Race, and I think, I'd love to do some of these challenges, but I take so little care over my attention, and they are there for hours, doing makeup and doing, getting the right clothes and fitting the clothes and stuff.
You can't be faffed.
I can't be faffed. I can't be faffed to do it in boy clothes. So why would I do it where you need to put lots of effort in?
I think that today's show, you managed to find a top.
Yeah.
At least I'm naked from the waist down, but the camera doesn't go there. I've just got to so if you expect me to roll it and do my eyelashes, it ain't happening, is it? And
that's it's like a meticulous level of preparation that I just don't have within me. It's not, because I really like the show, and there's some great challenges. The things like they do this thing, the Snatch Game, which is sort of like a blankety blank thing where they do celebrity impressions, and it's like, oh yeah, I'd love to give that a go. It's like an improv game.
Yeah.
But I'd be a great drag queen if it wasn't for the, having to get drag on.
If I could just turn up in some combats, an old band t-shirt, then game on.
Yeah, exactly. And then maybe there is, maybe there's a niche for that. Who knows? I don't know.
It's drag queens that really can't be bothered.
Yeah, no, exactly. Lazy.
So essentially just men.
Lazy anything. Yeah, I'll do that. How about you? Ever done it?
I've not done it. I was terrified, or terrorized rather, as a child.
You've got older sisters, haven't you? Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
they used to dress me up as dollies in their dolly clothes, and I remember my evil big sister used to do that, and then she'd hang me on the back of her bedroom door, and like a hook like that. Now again, if I said that out loud, social services be around, and I remember my dad being absolutely furious with it. Because it would make me and obviously it didn't, and it wouldn't. But that was the thing. If you put a little boy in a dress, then he's suddenly going to become gay.
That's the strange thing, isn't it? And there's some people still have that attitude, and far fewer people than back in the day. but still, you still get that, and you're like, and also if you tell people about it, that'll turn them gay. Like,
Yeah.
oh my God, really? Do you really believe that?
I remember, I won't mention the name, but I went to see a new venue that opened up near to where I live. And they were backed by a church with some interesting views, shall we say. And I was a bit of caught in a dilemma. So I sort of posed a question and said, look, for example, we're a consultancy. What happened if we wanted to do a project with one of our clients who might be Pride? Is that okay? And the lady I sat with she got very uncomfortable. She went, yes, it would be okay, but as long as they didn't use it as a recruitment station.
Oh my God.
Okay, I'm not sure that's how being gay works.
In my mind, that it's like the first week of university where you go to Freshers Week and there's all the societies. Like, are you interested in becoming a homosexual?
Yes. Do you like penises? This way.
Yes, here you go. Come on, everyone here, sign up.
Yeah. But it's going to, everybody's entitled to their view. That's one of the things I love about it. But when you hear views like that in the modern age, it's like,
yeah,
how? There was not a huge age difference between me and the person I was sat across the table with those views.
Yeah, it's interesting because when the view's based on something that isn't correct, it's difficult. You could say everyone's got the right to a point of view, but also it's wrong. And one of the reasons I hate Twitter is because it's just arguments all the time. And I did get into a debate with someone once. Like, I happened to there'd been an episode of Jeremy Vine, on the radio. And there'd been a debate about something. And someone had sent in a comment and it was so factually inaccurate. I was like, ugh, and I just wrote, I don't know how Jeremy Vine puts up with all these ignorant comments every day. I didn't even tag him in, but obviously he must have seen it because then he retweeted it and then unleashed the gates of hell on me. And yeah, this bloke was like, you can't call a point of view ignorant. You can't call it that. Everyone's got a right. I'm like, well, if it's based on something that's not true, it's kind of less valid than another point of view. Everyone's allowed a different point of view, but there is a level of validity based around the information.
Cold hard facts.
Yeah, the cold hard facts. If something's not true, it's not a good point of view. All right, I can wholeheartedly say that. But yeah, he wouldn't accept that, and so he just argued for ages, and nothing got resolved. And that's basically the internet in a nutshell.
Another useful spend of your time.
Yeah, I hate it, and that's why I very rarely go on Twitter or X or whatever it's called nowadays, because it's just, I don't have the time for arguments. I don't have the mental capacity for it. Don't have the appetite for it at all. It can just, get in the bin. Is there a
kernel of you going, I just want to there?
Oh, yeah. So like every time I see something that I think that's wrong, there's something in me going, I need to point this out. And then thankfully, I've now managed to do this thing where I stop and I go, I don't need to point it out. It doesn't matter. I'm never going to change someone's mind if they're dead set on thinking something, whether, because people just double down on things. And I'm sure I do it as well, on things that I believe that necessarily aren't necessarily the case. But there's no need to get into an argument and fuel this hate-filled space any further.
But are you then guilty of complacency and not calling it out as well? Because if it happened, what would happen if you were face to face with somebody and they said something like that? You're in the PTA meeting and somebody said something. Would you call it out?
Would literally never be in the PTA meeting because I have too little time on my hands.
I'm over here doing RuPaul's Drag Race.
Exactly.
I don't have time to fund the jump or sale.
Yeah. I've got to take a hedgehog somewhere. So I'd probably maybe I would. I don't know. I don't like confrontation. I think we've established that. But
no. But then again, it's sometimes you have to stand up to be counted.
Yeah, you do.
And you do, your complacency adds to this hate-filled world. But I can understand sometimes you are almost like bashing your head against a brick wall.
Yeah, I think in real life it's easier because you can tell the nuance and you can discuss it and it's an instant reply. Whereas when you argue on the internet, you say something, someone sends it back you could say something, then they'll go away for ages, and it's like there's no subtlety to it. There's no nuance to it. It's just people shouting at each other in texts, and it is very difficult to have that discussion. It is much easier to do it in real life because you're in that space with each other, and no one wants that toxicity, do they? No one wants that toxicity, so you're much more likely to go, okay, right, I see what you think. Let's agree to disagree. But that never happens because you don't have to experience that atmosphere when you're arguing on the internet, because you are there with the screen to protect you. So you could, like, if you are that sort of person, you could say the most horrible things in the world, and a lot of people do. But there's no real comeback on it.
But they do it sometimes just to raise a reaction. Go, oh, you're just that's just so woke, or it wouldn't happen. No, it's not. There's a similar argument, right? There were people talking about that there'll be editorial cuts when they're showing old sitcoms. They've just cut that bit out. No, the reason they cut that is because the music rights, right, a legal thing, have gone out of date. They're not able to afford them anymore. They Only Fools and Horses played some very famous songs. That's why that scene has been cut, not because the wokerati have got hold of it and said, "Oh, that thing is something about it." That's the actual fact, but you've built this narrative around it to feed this level of ignorance.
And there are people who do that on purpose as well, don't they? They'll go, "Oh, why have they left this out?" And they'll leave the question hanging. As if, and then people will come to their own conclusion. So they know full well what they're doing. God, what was that? There was a few weeks ago, there was a well-known TV critic, and we might have talked about this a few weeks ago. There's a program called Sherwood, and it is based in the 80s, which is topical for what we're talking about. And it's about kind of the miners' strikes and stuff around that. Now, you'd say Sherwood to anyone, they think Robin Hood, right?
Yep.
There are connections. I've not watched it, but apparently there are sort of connections. That's the point, is it's sort of framed in a similar thing, but set in the 80s. However, the character of the Sheriff of Nottingham is I think he's a black lesbian in this. And purposefully, you could tell it was purposefully, this TV critic just went, I can't believe how woke it is. Sherwood trampling over the story with this woke nonsense with a black lesbian Sheriff of Nottingham. And so many of the comments underneath were like, how can this is a traditional tale, this Robin Hood story. It's like, just take 2 minutes to check what that series is. It's not about Robin Hood. There weren't those back in that time. There weren't these people. It's like, but for one, Robin Hood is fictional anyway. It's not even a real story. And for two, it's not the Robin Hood story. It's not that. But he got so much engagement because he got engagement from the people going, I can't believe they're changing all of our stories, to be woke. And lots of people going, it's not about Robin Hood, right? And he got engagement from both sides. And he was probably sitting there with his smug little face going, I've done something great today. You've just caused a massive argument and anger. And you've done it completely on purpose.
To feed the algorithm, then he's going to get more likes. And then probably, I don't know, it works in the journalism world. But certainly if you get more, conversations within your content, it's seen as a good thing.
Yes,
because then the advertiser or the production company around you can sell more advertising because they've got more eyeballs. It's a blatant money grab.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, the more people are talking about things, that's why you just need to. We all should. Maybe we need lessons on this. Maybe there are lessons on this. I don't know nowadays, but we just need to. When you see something, just take a couple of breaths and think, should I share this straight away? Should I get cross about this straight away? Or should I just think, what is the story here? And just do a little bit of research, find out, think about it, and then choose whether you're going to go and make an angry tweet or something.
It's not going to happen, because also Christmas is round the corner, and then you're going to have your in-laws. Not judging your in-laws, but in-laws. And then these sort of conversations happen around the dinner table. And then you realise that Auntie Judith is less of a passive racist than you thought so, and she is 100% in for the game.
She's very much signed up for it at the Freshers Fair.
She did.
Racism.
Giving you a £5 book token.
Yeah.
So I love you, Auntie Jean, but really? Really? And breathe.
And breathe, yes.
Yeah. But we actually have got we've got a big event on the 14th around, it's called Unmasking Masculinity. So it's a live podcast / panel / Q&A with a range of different speakers. So we've got academics, we've got MPs, councillors, people with lived experience, and the conversation is around, what us as men, how do we survive, but also from a parental point of view, how we go to target people like Mr. Tate and all of those stuff that are feeding this really, really uncomfortable narrative. So that is in under 10 days' time, and we've sold out, and it'll be really fascinating to hear, what the academics think, what the government's perspective is, we've got a lot of support actually from mums that come along, they're trying to raise their sons as well. So I'm hoping to get some decent tips that we'll be able to share potentially on the next show or the show afterwards, to go, okay, you can't, I don't get, you need to go into battle for certain things. That's exactly why, Section 28 and even Pride exists, because the people in that bar decided they got fed up with the police coming in there and continuously victimizing them. So you do need to stand up and be counted, but how would you do that in a positive way that isn't divisive? And I don't have the answers to that.
But hopefully there'll be some discussions that will help form an answer to that at the event. Yeah,
I think burn them.
I mean, could do.
I think that's this is part of history that we haven't actually embraced, is running people out of town
with pitchforks.
If we don't like their views, see, you could have got hold of that person that you're arguing with Twitter, done some searches, found out where he lived, and ran him out of town. Got a lynch mob together, Jim.
Well, they say no ideas are bad ideas. Not sure how true that is. Let's have that as a starting point, and we'll work from there, okay? And we'll see.
As a jumping off point.
Yeah, it's a jumping off point, and then we'll see where the conversation goes. I'm presuming somewhere far away from your initial point.
Is it that? What's the issue? Is it burning people, or is it running them out of town? Which bit is like you struggling with it? Because I'd like to unpack that.
I mean, running people out of town is not great. Burning people is less great. So I guess if I was going to tackle it, it would probably be a two-pronged approach, but we'd start off with the burning, because that's...
Will they be the two prongs that you use on the fork to run them out of town?
Yeah, exactly. I do, I'd quite like to be in part of a braying mob, but I think it'd be quite good fun. But,
you get caught up, couldn't you?
Oh, yeah. Well, you can see how people do, and that's, that is actually, coming back to that point, it's kind of how the internet works in those areas. People connect because we all want something to connect to. We all want to be part of a group. We all want to be, we're pack animals, aren't we? So we always want to have that group. And when you see other people going towards it, and then I guess that's, there were riots in the UK a couple of months ago. And I think a lot of that is these people would not have been violent possibly on their own, but there was build and a build and a build, and they went along and they got caught up, and
they went on a shopping trip because they were looting Greggs for sausage roll. This was not about a political standpoint. They just needed to get some stuff from B&M and Greggs and the hi-fi shop. Let's get it right.
Okay. Well then, but once again, once people see one person looting, they're like, oh, I could do with a cheesy bean pasty or whatever it is.
A 3-piece sweet from DFS.
Yeah,
I've got Auntie Jean coming round at Christmas. We're going to need another seat. Let's cause a riot. Let's get in there and get some, a floral 3-piece seat sorted.
Perfect. Yeah, sounds good.
That's politics for you. Should we have a musical interlude and lighten the subject a little bit?
Yeah.
So this is one definitely for our American listeners. This is a wonderful Welsh rap group that have been around for donkey's years called Goldie Looking Train, and they are paying homage to the middle of Lidl. I think we should play the track, and then hopefully they'd understand about what actually goes on in the middle of Lidl.
Yeah, this is a crunching gear change, but I think one that we needed. It got heavy there, didn't it, for a bit?
Did.
I think we need this.
So many questions, my head might explode. So why did that chicken cross the fucking road? Why do men have nipples? Why are we here? And why do I have to drink so much craft beer? What's another word for thesaurus? And when's this song gonna get to the chorus? And if you thought life was a riddle, maybe you should check out the middle of Lidl. Hey ho, let's all go to the middle of Lidl. What you gonna get? I don't know.
There's alcoholic smoothies in different flavors, so I get drunk and naked waving at my neighbors. They sell salad pants but don't seem to care. Live in Newport City, not Baldur's-Gate. There's even DVDs by RuPaul. I prefer a porno, but you can have it all. This Christmas is gonna be top draw. My nan's gonna love a circular saw.
Like the Mandela effect, it got my head wrecked. Lost my mind for a while in the middle aisle. Was it the acid or the bargains that they're selling? Even if I knew, I wouldn't be telling. It's a safe space, a happy place where you can buy power tools or a briefcase. Like a double-slit experiment to a photon. It's a metaphor, when it's gone, it's gone. Hey ho, let's all go to the middle of Lidl. What you gonna get? I don't know. It's a surprise. The middle of Tesco's just don't compare. I never question my existence when I go there. In Lidl, the fun's never stopping till I go to Asda to do the rest of my shopping. I read up a burglary and then Descartes. Solipsism blew my mind apart. What's it all about? I searched for clues, went to Lidl for milk and came home with some shoes. What's it all about? The middle of Lidl and what to do? What's it all mean? We popped in for some margarine. The play, consume, don't stop buying. Went to Lidl now, I'm fucking air frying. Never ventured to the aisle in the middle, only popped in for a bottle of Chateau Neuf de Lidl. Like a one-armed man in a second-hand store, I bought a stun drone, but I don't know what for. You thought a box of Quality Street was a riddle, but you never know what you'll get in the middle of Lidl. I felt okay buying aubergines, but in the middle of Lidl I questioned what it all means. Who killed Jill Dando? Where's Madeleine McCann? What happened before the Big Bang? I started to believe in conspiracies, probably because I didn't get many GCSEs. The middle of Lidl left my mind a mess, so I do all my shopping at the Bainswell Express. Hey ho, let's all go to the middle of Lidl. What you gonna get? I don't know. Hey ho, let's all go to the middle of Lidl. What you gonna get? I don't know. It's a surprise. It don't make sense. It don't make sense. Wanted some milk, came home with a fence. It don't make sense, it don't make sense. The middle of Lidl just don't make sense.
Love it.
Like a one-armed man in a second-hand store.
And the first song I've ever heard to talk about salopettes as well.
Isn't it? So, yeah, for the listeners that haven't embraced the joy of Lidl, it's a great budget supermarket, but they do have this middle aisle, and it just has the most random things in there. So you think, okay, I'm coming now. I've got the burgers for the kids. I've got Dad's beer. I've got the greens. Got the vegetables. Oh yeah, we need a roof rack for a Cortina, and we need some snorkeling gear, and yeah, we need some paint for a crossword set. Let's just take it out there.
Genuinely, a few weeks ago, I went to do my shopping there and asked my wife if she wanted anything, and hilariously went maybe like an angle grinder or something. Got to Lidl, did the shopping in the middle aisle. Genuinely, there was an angle grinder. Like, just brilliant. Absolutely perfect. You never know what you're going to get, and that is part of the joy. It's like the lottery, but you know.
It is, but they obviously do it because it's, it's retail space and it makes money. But it's just the nonsense. I've actually got beef with Lidl from a few weeks ago because I went in there and they had a big sign up there with mince pies, right? And the adult in me thinking, oh, this is really good. Get some boxes there, put them in the top shelf of the cupboard and spread the cost of Christmas, right? That's the grown-up voice. The reality going, Dan, sod off, mate. They're not even going to last till the end of lunchtime if you get them now.
No,
exactly. Mince pies in October.
No. You see, you do need to buy ahead, but yeah, when it's things like that, just there is always going to be like a Tuesday night where you're like, a couple of mince pies, anyone? Right, good, yeah, okay, yeah, let's have it.
And the posh biscuits,
Yeah.
or the cheese, and it's stuff there on the top shelf, and it's just. I remember that as a kid and really hating it because okay, we've got gruel for the next 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Because obviously I was in a Dickensian household and that's all we had.
Yeah.
But yeah, then we'd have the big chocolate biscuits and stuff.
For me, it's the big packets of crisps. Like if we've got one in the house, I'm going to be eating it. I'm going to be opening it.
Mate.
Yeah, exactly. And then you'll get there Christmas Day and there'll be 3 crisps left in. It'll be all rolled down with a little peg on the top to keep it fresh. But, you know.
And with none of the flavours you actually like.
No. This year, I am going to really try my hardest to cater better. I always over cater for Christmas. Always get too much stuff in. And then, you know, by the time you've had your Christmas dinner on Christmas Day, I don't want the massive cheese selection. I love a cheese selection, but it's never going to get eaten that night. What I'm going to have is like maybe small turkey sandwich, and that's about it. But we've always got this massive amount of stuff that then we need to eat really rich food for the next 3 weeks. Even though after Christmas, I don't know about you, I just crave Sultana bran, and that's about it.
I just want healthy because you've got gout.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
you just had roast pheasant for breakfast and a partridge in a pear tree. And no, let's not get off Christmas because it's like it's the 4th of November, 5th of November. Let's bonfires. Let's remove the C word.
Hey, well, that's a good idea as well, actually, because it's my daughter's birthday coming up, and nothing makes her more cross than when people get her Christmas stuff for her birthday. So we need to.
Do they combine those presents as well?
Well, they don't combine them because it's still a little bit away. But if there's something that's in the shops that they think, you know, oh, she might like that, then no, she gets very angry. Very angry.
I can see it. Yeah, I've got a couple of grandnephews. Their birthdays are in early January, so it's going to be lovely, but also really expensive. So doubling up on the presents. But my lovely nieces have already booked in their birthday parties. One's the 4th of January, one's the 18th of January to mark their son's one's birthday. And it's just, you know,
your January's filled up. And
it's really expensive because I've just spent a load on Christmas tat and, you know, cheese.
Yeah.
How are 1-year-olds with leftover cheese and avocado?
I think it depends on the parent, really. But, you know, you could give it a go, see.
We could reutilize, isn't it? It's about re-gifting.
Yeah. No, well, I don't think there should be a stigma about that. I think
you could get rid of those vouchers that have just sat behind on the toast rack where you've got the bills that you just don't want to go near.
I'd have to find them first. That's the problem. That's always the problem.
There's always the problem. Should we hear from some of the boys and girls at home?
Yeah, let's do it. So this is like a new regular feature, right?
Yep.
So this is Magic Dave's gardening tips. So last week we found out that you could grow tomatoes from potato plants somehow because they're the same genus or whatever.
Good use.
Didn't really understand it, but apparently so. This is expanding on that theme. He's left us a voice note.
Right. This will be a quick one today from Magic Dave, the gardener. A bit of a random fact. This is potatoes again. Potato seeds actually look like green tomatoes when they flower off the top of a leaf. It looks like a green tomato coming off the top of a potato leaf. And that is actually a potato seed. It's mad, but also you can get potatoes from obviously another potato, which is called chitting, and cutting them in half. But yeah, potatoes will actually flower seeds that look like green tomatoes. So yeah, there you have it. That is Dave's random fact of gardening for the day.
Anyone else laugh at the word chitting?
You say potato, I say tomato.
Yeah, well, there you go. Who knew that there are so many connections between potatoes and tomatoes?
It just makes me feel hungry when Dave talks.
I know, exactly. And we've got this one from Jaden as well. This is a question which, I don't know. We're not going to be able to answer this, but there might be people who can answer this. In the next episode, we'll give you some answers anyway.
My name's Jaden from sunny Brighton and Hove in the UK, and I have a quick question for everyone. Has anyone ever had the opportunity to reconcile with their dad and been nervous as sugar honey iced tea?
So there are two things as far as I can see here, other than the question, which is interesting. If anyone has had a chance to reconcile with their dad and they've been nervous about it, we would love to hear. Just get in contact at Dadless Soul. That's all of that's our socials. Get in contact through there. Two things. One, that's the most succinct voicemail that Jaden has ever sent. Because we know Jaden, he's an integral part of the Dadless Soul team.
Oh, I laugh because it hurts and it's true.
I don't think he can't argue with that, can he?
No.
We
have evidence.
Also, second thing, I've never heard anyone say sugar honey iced tea, but I think it's quite a clever way of getting around doing some swearing there.
It is, and we're not allowed to swear, are we? Because
No.
the big bosses at Face Radio get a $50 fine for every rude word, unless it's in a song, because then it's seen as artistic license.
Yeah, Goldie Looking Chain got away with it. We could not get away with it. Sugar honey iced tea. I have never heard that before. That is a brand new phrase on me.
Again, for your T-shirt.
Yeah, exactly. Why not? Put it on there.
Yeah.
Great. So that's the voicemails. We also have some more tips and advice from Thomas Vesterholz, who is the couples counsellor that I did an interview with a few weeks ago, and he had loads to talk about. It was really good, really fascinating. And so here he's talking about kind of what it's like being for his partner, having a partner who is a couples counsellor, and then kind of some of the ways that he kind of works and helps people that come to him.
You know, how I would describe what I do when we were making dinner. And I said, I'm kind of like a jungle guide, because relationships is like being in a jungle, and sometimes you can't see where you're going and it looks all murky. And I'm the guy who said, no, don't go down this road because that leads to the alligator. And no, not this one. This has the poison snake. Let's go this way, right? So I'm kind of like a jungle guide, right? I steer them through all these leaves and trees where sometimes they can't see, but I'm the one who kind of have a vision for the path where we can get to safely and where they can actually enjoy their time together.
Okay. I'm trying to work out now whether it would be a good thing or a challenging thing to be in a relationship with a couples therapist. What does your partner think?
Well, I think she would say that she really loves it, because the fact is, for me, it's no longer analytic. So I think when we start learning a skill like playing an instrument, we're very analytic, right? And nobody likes to be analyzed all the time. But I think just like playing an instrument, at some point, the person can just take the instrument and make up music because he can feel it, right? He can feel if it sounds good. So when I'm, in relationship with my partner, I'm not analyzing her behavior, my behavior. I can just navigate it by a felt sensation. So I think it can also be a huge benefit.
Oh, yeah, of course. And do you think that happens to people that you have who come to you? Do they sort of learn that skill as well? Does that sort of become more innate to them?
Yeah, they do. Because what is fascinating when people first come, and as I said, this is partly because I think our school system is letting us down a bit. They're not teaching us a lot of these skills we really need to navigate life, right, in a productive way and have good mental health. And what I do is they come and they don't actually know, most people when they come, how they construct their sense of reality. They just think what they're experiencing, that is real. My emotions are real. Whatever they're experiencing to them is reality. So the first thing I do is construct. We break down like little moments of conflict they had, and we're like, what triggered you? How did you make meaning out of that, right? Something happened and she thought that means I don't matter. So that's how she make meaning out of it. It's not what it means what he did, right? So they start understanding, how do I make meaning out of what happened? And what felt sensation do I have? What is my automatic response? And then they can start a construct and see patterns of their behavior. And that makes it easier to interrupt it, right? When it just happens automatically and we think it's reality, it's hard to interrupt. Now they kind of understand their own construct, so they can say, hey, I'm going here again. We don't want to go down this route. We know where it's going to lead.
He's a wise man.
I imagine we didn't say though is what's it like being married to you, Thomas? Right? Really, really annoying, right? 'Cause if you just want to certain time, you just want a really good Barney to clear the air. And if you've got somebody that knows everything, is just really compassionate, it's very, very hard to just go, because now tell me how that comes, where that comes from. And it's like, no, I just want to shout.
Yeah. Getting cross at people who are entirely reasonable is just no fun, is it? That's more
You
infuriating.
want a reaction. You see, this is where burning them and running them out of town actually comes into play. So early you said, oh no, it gets a bit touchy. Just put it out. Arguing with couples counsellors.
Do I need to contact Thomas again and see if he'd like to put his spin on the whole burning and running out of town thing?
Or he wants to book me in for some sessions to find out where this anger is actually coming from.
He might have something to say. That's all I'm saying. He might have some salient points.
Yeah, I suppose there's other on your on the Dad to Soul sessions, the other show you do. You have the wonderful Dr. Alex, GP and conflict resolution expert, and then it'd be really difficult to argue with a conflict resolution expert, wouldn't it?
Yeah, because by his very nature, he's always looking for those ways. That's the thing. Yeah, it's like you want to say, how am I going to resolve this conflict? Is it by shouting a lot and getting really cross and storming out?
Yeah.
And no, that's not the way.
It's not, but sometimes it feels really good. I think something we lose from childhood is being the opportunity to have a massive paddy in the middle of the supermarket when we're not getting our own way.
Can I tell you about one that I saw this weekend?
Oh, please.
Okay.
Judgment on other parents just gets better.
No, yeah, I'm not really judging the parent. So my son plays football, and he was playing a team yesterday that they'd already played this year before, and they've got this really good player. He's really, really good, but he's a bit shovey. He's a bit he's got the talent. He doesn't need to push people over, but he does.
Yeah.
And so he was playing yesterday, and he's clearly the best player on the pitch, but my son's team took a 2-0 lead, then 3-0, half time. They were winning. This lad was not happy. Then, because they play in 4 quarters and they each take it in turns, the coaches take them off, so everyone gets sort of an even amount of play.
Yeah.
He got taken off for the 3rd quarter, and he had the biggest meltdown. Absolutely huge meltdown.
How old are these kids?
So they're 7 and 8.
7 and 8, yeah.
And he was like, we're losing. They need me on the pitch. We're never going to get back if I'm not on the pitch. I should be on the pitch. And he was weeping and weeping, had to be dragged off the pitch. He just refused to get off. And eventually they took him off for a quarter. Now, in that quarter that he wasn't playing, the team played much more of the team because when he was on, he keeps the ball to himself. He doesn't, he doesn't let anyone else in. His team actually played a lot better without him. They scored 2 goals. He came back on for the 4th quarter. Yeah. My son's team scored another, so won 4-2. He didn't get any goals at all. And he was, in a way, because he'd been really unpleasant and he hadn't been called on it, and he really should be. It should be an adult's job, the referee, the coach, or whatever, to just go, please, you need to stop pushing. It's not cool. That's bullying, and that's not fair. But he obviously had this attitude that he was the biggest thing on the pitch, and he was going to be great. So in a way, it all worked out perfectly because my son's team won. He didn't get any goals, but his team found out that when they played as a team together, they did a lot better than when they had old stroppy boy on the pitch.
What was he like when he came on for the 4th bit, having witnessed the change that had happened?
He just came back on and did the same as he had done. So he was a bit pushy. He took the ball.
Still quite blasé about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Taking the evidence.
He had not learnt about what had happened during that. I mean, to be fair, I'm not sure if he even watched what was happening. But yeah, I was secretly delighted that he didn't score a goal.
Ha ha!
Yeah, and you're not meant to laugh at the misfortune of children. I'm not laughing at the misfortune of children, but I think he very much needed to learn a lesson, which was you need to play as a team. You need to not be as arrogant. You need to play in the spirit of the game. And I think he had a lesson in that. Whether he's learned it or not, I don't know.
How did his parents handle dragging him off the field? Were they calm and reasonable, or were they embarrassed? And
no, the mum was quite cross, and then she was obviously embarrassed by it because there was a little altercation later on, where I think she felt judged, and I don't think anyone was judging her. I think
having read the stuff that went on in the WhatsApp groups, that's exactly what's going on.
Yeah, I think everyone was a bit shocked by the kid, by how violent he was on the pitch, and then to have that reaction, it was a bit like, oh, come on, mate, come on, you can't be this big like pushy bully and then like have an absolute meltdown at this point. So yeah, I don't know if people were judging her. I think she felt judged, and I can see why, definitely. And what a horrible situation for her to be in.
We've all been there where our kids have had monstrous meltdowns, and you do feel judged, and you feel like a failure and stuff like that. So if I normally, if I see it, I was like, don't worry, we got your back, sister. Rather than look and point and stuff, like, because it is horrible to be on scene, but it also maybe leads into the my partner works in early years settings, and there's a lot more now of their children that are gentle parented,
right,
and leading to a generation of psychopaths,
right? Okay,
because they're not being told no, or that's not acceptable. No, please don't punch little Johnny in the face with a house brick. Let's just unpack why you felt it was okay to do that, rather than you're not doing that, and there are consequences. Yes, it things. So without making judgments on his parents, which is that something that may be potentially connected?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't know if she was necessarily going in for gentle parenting. I think maybe she'd gone the other way. But I don't.
She'd lost the plot.
Well, I just think when every reaction is heightened.
Yeah.
You don't know what's happening there. Sorry. Yeah, there you go. A little introduction. In fact, I do know what's happened there. Is that someone sat on my keys and they send a note to my phone. Because it's a little tracker that we have for the keys, so you can use your phone to find your keys, but it works the other way around. And I often have my keys in my back pocket, and if I sit on them or lean on them or something, it goes, "Oh, he's trying to find his phone," and then it makes that noise.
Helpful, but also quite irritating. I wish I would have learned about this, because I've lost my favourite brown cap.
Oh, is it still missing?
It's still missing, yeah. And I've turned up the flat, and I've turned up the office, and the gym, the swimming pool. It's just not there. And I've had the hat for about 6 years.
Oh no!
I feel almost naked about it. But had a jolly ringtone tracker in there, I would not be having this level of grief and upset.
It's so annoying when you lose things, isn't it? It really is. I wish that you could track more things. These trackers aren't really that practical for clothing, unless you want to make a feature of it, I guess. But
no, and I live in a 1-bedroom flat. I have a small office. There's not that many places where I actually go. So unless somebody sort of, broke in midnight, ruffled through the family silver, I thought there's no family silver. Oh, but let's have that hat that he's worn for years and slightly frayed. Answer on the postcard, please.
Yeah, it does seem weird, doesn't it? It does seem like the small amount of places it could be, and surely someone would have handed it in. That's what you do. Or, if it had been at the gym or the swimming pool, staff member would have seen it, gone and put it in lost property. Or
the bin, because it just looks like an old second-hand cap.
Okay, well, maybe not. They do tend to have these things around. So maybe one day it'll turn up, and that'll be the greatest joy of all, won't it?
It will be. But at that time, I would have had another favourite hat.
Oh no!
And so we'd go, "Oh, finally found it." Oh, well, maybe it was the Lord telling me that actually you need to update your wardrobe, Flanagan.
Maybe so. Sad news.
Actually, on that leads me neatly into a segue, but should we have a little musical interlude first?
Yes, let's do it.
So this is the Brothers Johnson. So on today, the 4th of November, we are, the news has just broken that the legend that is Quincy Jones has passed away he's in his 90s, but he's finally passed away. But his back catalogue is monstrous. So I know every radio show and TV show is going to be pumping out Thriller and, you know, maybe Sinatra and all of this stuff, because he did literally have an amazing back catalogue. So I've tried to look at something else that it's still quite funky, but maybe something that isn't immediately going to be on the radio. So this is the Brothers Johnson, and from 1976, it'll be I'll Be Good to You.
Just how you feel. Said I wanna know if what you feel is real. We've been together oh so very long. I would hate to break up our happy home. Special way. Take a step now to let me know now all of your ways, girl, and all your know-how. I'll be good to you, so good,
Sad news about Quincy, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. What a career. Like a varied career, doing lots of very different but all amazing things. Like just, I mean, yeah, surely there will be no one with the amount of success that Quincy Jones has had ever.
It's not, it even goes back to, he was a band leader for Frank Sinatra. Yeah. And when they went on tour, there was still segregation across the US. And, you know, Quincy and the band had to stay in different hotels. When Frank found out about it, he just said, no, not having him. He's coming in there. So it was, you know, there was some amazing things on right the way through, Michael Jackson and funk, even to, you know, discovering the old Will Smith and giving us the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. You know, he had his hand in a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it is like, and as someone who loves the Italian Job, a big part of that soundtrack as well.
Indeed.
Move on and all that.
One thing for you that you would miss if you were just listening to the audio version of that, with the Brothers Johnson, they had some amazing stage costumes, right? Mm-hmm. There was a lot of funk and a lot of glitter, which leads me neatly into a report that I read a couple of days ago about that music merch from the 70s, 80s and 90s has now exploded in value, right? Rare finds in the attics. Have you got any? We know, big listeners, is that Jim's wife is a queen of everything vintage. So, what's in the wardrobe that could actually pay your pension? And do you still have band T-shirts? Are you allowed to wear them, or are they behind sealed things like the 40-year-old Virgin now? And do they still fit? Let's be honest.
There's a lot of them that have been sold. To be honest, if I had band T-shirts from my 20s, they would fit now, because I'm in better shape now than I was in my 20s.
No one needs to hear that, Jim.
No, but I was in really bad shape when I was in my 20s. Like, it's not like I've kept fit. I've actually finally got fitter.
Yeah, because you were living with a flatmate that you kept sending down to the garage to get biscuits at 3 a.m.
When you've got that on tap, right, you're going to eat biscuits, right? Surely.
Vicky said, don't get high on your own supply, and you obviously did.
I did, very much so. So we've had some, so Jill has some of her own that I will not get sold, like a original Pulp T-shirt.
Yeah,
Bell and Sebastian stuff, but she sold a few. One of the best ones was a Reading Festival T-shirt from sometime in the 90s. There was actually a mate of ours, and he said, "Oh, could you sell it?" And it was sold for like £100 or something like that. What Jill's most annoyed about is that she had an original Oasis T-shirt that I think her brother then used for wearing while welding. Which was therefore destroyed, but nowadays, obviously, with the resurgence of Oasis, would be worth a lot of money.
Yeah.
But we also know these vinyl dealers, and they're lovely people, really nice people. And this bloke has got a mate who came across a large stash of vintage T-shirts at like a car boot sale or at an auction or something like that. And he's selling them drip by drip. And because this bloke we know, Graham, he called me over. He just went, "Oh, how much do you think a Sonic Youth T-shirt would cost on eBay?" It was like £30 or something.
Yeah.
He showed me not even the final price, but with a couple of days left of bidding, it was up to £900. And
the actual?
I couldn't believe it. Absolutely could not believe it.
Are they mint condition or?
Yeah, so like really good condition and all original as well.
Yeah.
But wow. I mean, Sonic Youth, who knew there were that many people who liked Sonic Youth that were going to bid against each other for an original T-shirt? It's just, there's some real money in it. People want to go back. So Jill sells a lot of vinyl, a lot of tapes as well, because people want to get involved in that. The kids love the tapes, even though, let's face it, the sound quality of tapes is terrible. But it's, it's nostalgia. And nostalgia is a big driver, and people love that stuff.
And it's tangibility as well, isn't it?
Yeah. So that's the thing. And that's what the one thing I don't really like is Spotify. There's lots of reasons to like it, lots of reasons not to like it. One of the things is you just never own anything. And I do try and buy the albums that I like. I try to go out and buy a physical copy as well, even though I haven't got a CD player that works. But it's quite nice to have. And it's quite nice to give some money to the artist as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, you don't get that as much nowadays. And kids growing up, kids becoming teenagers now, they won't have ever had the kind of tangible product in their hands, which is really that's part of that nostalgia of music, isn't it?
It's that. Well, the whole thing. It was the saving up, the going to the record shop, the getting the album or the single, reading the credits on the bus back home. Literally imbibing it for it. Actually, we've got to give a shout out randomly to Sussex Masons, because they've just given us some funding to actually buy 4 record players for our events. And the idea is that for our play dates and for our dad's meetups, it's going to be bring a bottle and an LP. So if you want to, I launched this to the guys the other night, and they said, "I haven't got any records left." I go, "We have to nip down the charity shop and get one."
Yeah.
The idea is that you fish out some of your old records, play them, because we always have music at our event, but then you can maybe tell the story. Okay, I was 16 and this was my first gig, and thing, knowing full well there's probably loads of people in that audience or that group were either fans, maybe at that same rave or gig, and it's a way to break or build conversations. So we've got to have play dates. I'm going to have a little one in the office. So if anybody wants to come in to work at our HQ, so we'll bring Jaffa Cakes and also bring a piece of vinyl, and we can build up this nice library physically, which then we can play on the show. But yeah, I think there's something I've got maybe a couple of 100 records at most. Most are really badly damaged when I was trying to scratch. Not being respectful to them. But yeah, give me an excuse to actually dig some of them out.
Yeah, it'd be nice. And that's the thing as well, because I always find there's too much choice on Spotify, and I can never. Sometimes there are times where I just can't decide. I just can't decide what I want to listen to, because I can listen to pretty much anything that's ever existed in the world.
Yep.
And that's too much. It's too overwhelming. Whereas when you've got those records, you go back and you're limited by how many you've got, limited by how many are still in playable condition as well. And then you find something, you go, oh man, I've not heard that for ages. I would never have thought of that record. I would never have thought of listening to that band again. That wouldn't have come up while I was there on Spotify going, what am I going to listen to? I wouldn't have gone, oh yeah, them. So then you go back, you listen to it and remember, all the good times. Music's so entwined with the experiences that we have in our lives that it's a beautiful thing to be able to.
Yeah. Who you were, where you were, who you were with, what you were wearing, the stupid haircut or fashions of the day. It's a very, very potent thing. And I think to be able to encourage that within the groups, the kids are not going to probably have seen records. So there's going to be a cordon saying you're not getting anywhere near this.
Yeah, don't touch.
Actually. But yeah, I think hopefully it will spark a range of new conversations. Sometimes, coming to an event can be a bit socially awkward. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, I haven't heard that in years. Or I've got the 12-inch of that. Or, it's
such an easy conversation starter in it. There's no, there's no concern about being shot down by something, because if someone loves this record and you love that record, you've got a connection instantly.
Yeah, there's a commonality. Even if you hate that record, well, I like that, but actually I like speed thrash. Okay, well, I'm open to that. Well, maybe I say open to that. I'm not. I'll let you play at least 3.5 seconds and I'll boo loudly.
And chase you out of town and burn you. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, for being like a goth. And then burn you out of town.
Yeah.
So music has the power to bring people together, but also tear them apart and burn them.
Yeah, people can have an argument about anything, can't they?
Welcome to the Face Radio Brooklyn, where we burn people out of town if their music isn't up to a certain quality.
You've got to meet that connection. You really do.
Judgmental at the best of times.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to Dadler Soul. This has been the Extra Time Show. This is what we do. Middle-aged men not talking about our ailments for the first time in a very, very long time. We can have a little musical, Lindley, before we disappear.
Yeah, we can do, definitely.
What do you want?
We could have, let's see what we've got. Oh, how about this While My Guitar Gently Weeps version, which seems to be by like the world's greatest supergroup.
That's what appealed to me. I was on a Prince thing, and then I saw Stevie Winwood and etc. etc. Yeah, let's have a bit of that.
So Prince, Tom Petty, Jeff Lynne, and Steve Winwood. Not a bad lineup. This is While
Hell of a pub quiz team.
Wasn't it just?
Thank you to Gold Looking Chain, Electric Guest, the Fine Young Cannibals, Brothers Johnson, and Tom Petty for bringing together a musical harmony for the last 2 hours. Any final words from you, James Coulson / Orville the Duck / Cuddles the Monkey?
No, I'm just going to run you out of town and burn you.
Seems reasonable.